Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to tell you the story about how I tried to get Invisalign here in Haiti and how everything went wrong. So back in 2022, I decided to start vlogging my life in Haiti. And so it was January, my husband's birthday. We decided to go to Côte d'Azur and spend a few days there. And so once we were there, I'm like, okay, I need to film a intro, and the camera was pretty close up to my face. I just need to tell the people where I'm at, what's going on, what we're doing. And so yeah, later on, like a few weeks later, when I was editing that scene, I kept looking at my teeth and I was like, wait a minute, okay, wait a minute, whose teeth are those? Okay, because they're not my teeth. I grew up having perfectly straight teeth. So I was a little confused. I'm like, I'm not sure who I'm looking at, what I'm looking at, but they're not my teeth, right? And so I made this post on Instagram. Finally editing this vlog, and my dentist told me I needed an Invisalign. I thought he was crazy because I was like, okay, when I was growing up, people used to ask me if I ever had braces because my teeth were so straight. So now I'm starting to notice I have a tooth that is like sticking out or something. So nobody told me this. So when you get older, your teeth like get messed up. What is this about? So the issue is really my bottom row. My teeth gradually moved towards the front and then it caused crowding right here. And then so I think it's this tooth, it got pushed back and up. And so instead of going in a straight line like this, my teeth now go like this and then up and back down. So I post my first video on YouTube. My YouTube is popping off. People from all over watching my content. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to film more. I need to post more. I need to edit more. And so as I'm editing, I'm just getting more annoyed, especially when I would edit sit down videos like what I'm doing right now. I'm just sitting down in front of the camera speaking to you all, and so the focus is on me. And so I'm thinking about it more and more, and I was overdue for a 6-month cleaning. And so while I was scrolling on Instagram, the dentist that I go to, or that I used to go to in Pétionville, they made a post saying appointments available, DM for an appointment. So I DM'd them. I was like, I just need to come in for a routine cleaning. When can I come in? They're like, tomorrow. I was like, yeah, sure. So that happened in November of 2022. Okay, so I posted my first video on YouTube in March of 2022. By November of 2022, I was just over the whole teeth situation. I said I need to fix my teeth. So at that time, I used to go to the dentist both in Haiti and in the States because, you know, for my first 5 to 6 years, I would say in Haiti, I barely left, okay? I barely went to the States. Sometimes I would go maybe once a year. Sometimes I would skip a year. So imagine, you know, usually go to a dentist twice a year if you don't have major problems. So one appointment would be for your oral exam, check if everything's okay, and they also do the cleaning. And then you go back 6 months later just for the cleaning. And I'm like, I'm not getting on the plane to go twice a year for that. So I ended up finding a dentist that I liked here. Well, not where I live now. I don't live in the area anymore, but I found a dentist that I really liked in Pétionville. And I initially went there to get my teeth whitened before getting married. And so once I called, they were like, you haven't been here before, you have to have an oral exam. Like, we can't just whiten your teeth. What if you have some issues with your teeth? You gotta go through the whole process. And so that's what I did. I get there, they had me do all the x-rays. Wait, first of all, once I got there and I'm in the waiting room, I was like, I have never been to a dentist like that. It was so chic in there. It had a contemporary design. It had really stylish decor, like just in the waiting room. I was like, this is cute. As they're taking me room to room, going through the process, I was like, okay, this place is legit. Like, I'm gonna come back here. So wait, let me paint the picture a bit. Pétionville is the most affluent city in Haiti. The businesses that they have there, or the services, the different stores and stuff, they look similar to what you can find in the States. And I usually compare to the States because that's where I grew up. And also that's where a lot of my viewers are. They offer all types of services. There's really no need for you to say, oh, I'm gonna have to leave Haiti to go and do that somewhere else. And then they also have very similar prices to what I have seen in the States. I rarely have a lot of issues with my teeth, but my husband used to go there as well, and he had a lot of work done, and he used to spend thousands of dollars. We have never tried to get health insurance or dental insurance here. For me, I just don't think it's worth my time. If you've had experience or good experience with health insurance here or dental insurance here, let me know. Okay, leave a comment down below. But for us, we're like, not really wasting our time with it. We just pay everything out of pocket. I know sometimes there are places that you go and pitch on video, kind of like, okay, this is nice and all, but why is it this much? Why is it so expensive? But I would say at that place, because they have state-of-the-art equipment and all the services that they provide, you don't have to leave Haiti to go and do things. I would say the prices match what they offer and the equipment they use and stuff. So at the appointment, I tell the dentist, you know, last time I was here, you told me about the aligner trays and I was in denial, but I definitely want to get them now. So what is the process? So he told me they work with a lab in New York, and he will take my molds that day, and then they're going to send them to the lab in New York. And it's going to cost $300 for that. And it's non-refundable because sometimes clients will decide they don't want to move forward with it and they still have to pay the lab to get the aligner trays. So he was like, it's $300 non-refundable. And then after that, I would have to pay $300 per month. And so I was like, okay, cool. Because I was already prepared to pay thousands of dollars for this service, because that's what I have seen online. And I also already figured, you know, if I had done it in the States, I'm like, insurance probably won't even cover much of it. I still would end up paying thousands of dollars. And then if I factor in all the travel expenses, it's pretty much gonna be the same thing. I might as well do it where I live. And so I agreed to it right away. And then I asked him, once they put the order in, how long is it gonna take for the lab to send the aligner trays? And so he was like, it could take up to 6 months. They don't know the exact time. It really depends on the lab. It's not up to them. And so I was like, okay, 6 months, okay, cool. At that time, I had not done any research online to know how long it takes. But I remember a few years prior to the situation, I was watching someone that I usually watch on YouTube. Even though I wasn't interested in aligners at that time, I didn't think I needed them, but I still watched the video because I watched all her videos. And so I'm watching the video. She lives in the UK and she's talking about her process. She's talking about the entire process. It seemed so exclusive at that time. Like, it was hard for her to get an appointment at her dentist. It was like a waiting list. I was like, what? Then once they put in the order, they sent it to a lab in Brazil, and then it took like 11 months or something like that. But I didn't do further research at that time because I wasn't about to get Invisalign or, you know, clear aligners. I was just watching because I liked her content. And so, yeah, so that was in the back of my mind. I was like, yeah, I remember something about 11 months. So when he said 6 months, I was like, okay, 6 months, whatever, cool. And so time is going by. So this was in November of 2022. By March of 2023, it had been 4 months. And my husband and I decided we were going to leave the Port-au-Prince area. We're going to leave the entire department, the West department. We're like, we're done with the West. We're leaving and we're going to move to the North. We didn't know exactly where we were going to move to, but we knew that we were going back home, okay? Because we're both from the North. We're both born in the North. And so we're just like, we're taking our talents, taking our talents somewhere else, okay? And so I'm like, you know what? Let me call the office and just let them know, because how is this whole thing gonna work out? I wasn't too worried about it because you don't have to keep going back and forth to the dentist like how when you have braces and you have to get the wires or whatever tightened up and all that stuff. It's not the same thing. So I'm just like, I don't know how it's gonna work, but let me just call them and just tell them I'm moving. She was like, are you moving to the States? The doctor can give you the trays in the States. And that's because he lives in Miami. So he will go every single week from Miami to Haiti. Miami to Haiti, Miami to Haiti. So if I was moving to the States, I could get the trays there. But I was like, no, I'm actually just moving to the North. And she was like, oh, okay. Yeah, we could figure it out. Because, you know, you could ship things from Port-au-Prince to the Cap-Haitien airport. So there's a local airport in Port-au-Prince, and Sunrise Airways ships things from Port-au-Prince to Cap and even to the South as well. Because sometimes I ship things from Ocap to the south. And yeah, so you can ship things. So she was like, yeah, it will work out, you know, or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. We ended up staying in Port-au-Prince for a few more months because it took a very long time to find a place to live. My husband took like 3 trips here, back and forth, to try to find a place, stayed for a few days, search and search and search. It was so hard. Like there was nothing that was a good fit for us. And so we're like, okay, let's look in a different area. We were considering a whole bunch of things, and finally we ended up finding a place in June, and we moved at the very end of June. So I was like, okay, let me give them a call, because for one, it has been 6 months and they told me that it could take up to 6 months. And then 2, I'm about to move officially. So I had already told them, but I'm like, you know, it's official now. And so I'm okay, let me call them up. So I call them up, and the receptionist was like, no, your aligners are not in yet, and there are a lot of clients waiting. It's taking longer than usual, and you know, we will let you know once they arrive. And I was like, okay, well, I'm officially moving. I'm about to leave. Okay, I'm leaving the area. She was like, no, don't worry, you know, we'll get them to you. And she even told me that the doctor has a client in Cap-Haitien, so when he goes for his appointment, if mine are already in, then he could bring mine as well. And I was like, oh, perfect. Okay. So we end up moving the last week of June, and so months are passing by, still nothing. And I check in from time to time just to see what's going on. Are there any updates? What's happening? And still nothing. The liner's not here. And then November 2023 rolls around. I'm like, okay, it has been 1 year. Okay, we went from up to 6 months to 1 year. I was like, no, let me call and tell them, like, ma'am, okay, now we're at a year. Okay, what's going on? Let me know, because if I need to move on, I will move on. And so I call her and I'm like, hey, it's been a year. What's going on? And she was like, the doctor hasn't been here, but every time you call me, I talk to him about it. The lab, you know, says it's not available yet. I was just like, you know what? I'm about to just let go of this whole situation and just take the L. Well, not take the L all the way, because obviously I have aligners in my teeth right now. Okay, so obviously my teeth are getting fixed. Okay, so I didn't take the L all the way. Didn't work out with the Haiti situation, but it's working out with somebody else. And so anyways, in November, because we hit a year, I was like, you know what, at my next dentist appointment in the States, I'm going to ask about the process. But the thing is, I did not go to the States for healthcare and all that until April. So it's from November of 2023 to April of 2024. Okay, that's when I finally went. But in between that time, I was like, okay, if they become available, then I will, you know, move forward with it, because I'd already started the process. I didn't look up the typical wait time. I didn't do that, which I wish I had done, but I didn't. So I didn't know how long it would take. So I'm thinking, even if I move on with another dentist, it's going to be more time. You know, it's going to be me starting from 0. And so I was just like, if they come, then I'll just, you know, continue on with them. Even though after all the wait and not really getting any updates or whatever, I was kind of like, dang, I didn't really want to deal with them. But I'm like, I already started. I paid my little $300. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, by the time I go to my appointment, then I'm going to move forward with the next. Okay, on to the next. And so, yeah, so that's what I did. But before then, in January, I see they're like posting. At that time, they were pretty active on Instagram. So I was like, you know what? Let me just give it one more try and just DM the doctor and see if I could speak with him directly. So in my message, I gave him a breakdown of my situation, because I didn't assume that he was going to remember me or remember the exact situation. And then also, I was concerned that my teeth, you know, because it's been over a year. So now this is January. It's been over a year that my teeth have continued to move, because that's the problem. I went from having straight teeth to having crooked teeth. So my teeth are gradually moving. So I'm like, my teeth have moved. So if they're making the aligners based off of the molds, if they haven't started, there's like a back order or something, and they haven't started yet, are these things going to fit my teeth? Because my teeth to me seemed like they were just getting worse and worse. And because now I'm really paying attention to my teeth. Before, when I was in denial and I'm like, oh, perfect teeth, straight teeth, da da da. Once I realized, like, ma'am, your teeth are crooked now. Like, I'm looking, like, I'm in the mirror, I'm examining, I'm doing all of that in the mirror. And yeah, so I was like, yeah, my teeth are getting worse and worse. So I said, hi, Dr. So-and-so. My name is full name. I ordered Invisalign in November 2022, but still haven't received them. I've called the office, but there hasn't been much of an update. It's been over a year, and I'm afraid that the molds submitted to the lab might be a little off since my teeth have been shifting over the past few years. I used to have very straight teeth, but as I got older, they started changing. I imagine they've gotten worse since November 2022. I wonder if the Invisalign will fit by the time I get them. Is there an estimated time? I sent that message on January 17th, 2024. I did not receive a message back until June 24th. From my message in January, I got a message back in June. Okay, and once I sent the message, it showed that someone read it. So I don't know if it was him that read it, if it was someone else that read it, but back in the day, he posted a lot as if it was his personal page. And so I don't know. I don't know if he read it or if someone else read it, but they read it and they didn't say anything to me. And so I was like, okay. So anyways, June of 2024. Okay, I'm telling you the message exactly how it is. Hello, sorry, Haiti was a mess and we had to close for a very long time. Let me check the system. That's it. Hello, sorry, Haiti was a mess and we had to close for a very long time. Let me check the system. That was the message that I received in June from my message that I sent in January. And I didn't reply because guess what? My dentist appointment with my dentist in the States was in April. At the time that I sent the message because they were active on Instagram. So they could have said, sorry, everyone, given the current security situation in Haiti, we have to close down or whatever. I mean, I can't tell you how many businesses that I follow that you end up seeing that statement, or you end up seeing some post about it. You end up seeing some type of changes to their hours. You see they release some type of statement or something. So that's something common that you'll see, especially with businesses in the Port-au-Prince area, because that's where a lot of the gang violence is. And so, yeah, there was nothing like that. They were just posting on my timeline because I followed them at that time. So I would randomly see their posts. And so I was just like, so April came around and it was time for me to go to the States. I usually plan on my checkups around the same time. So I might go to the States for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I do everything back to back to back. So I had my dentist appointment set for April 11th. And then I had another appointment at the orthodontist the following day because I had to go to the dentist, the regular dentist, to do my oral exam and all that stuff, and then the hygienist to do the cleaning. And then the following day I had to meet with the orthodontist so she could explain to me the process to get the aligners and all that. They're like, okay, today you're going to take a whole bunch of x-rays, and then they said, okay, they're going to send it to the lab and it is going to take 4 weeks. I said, wait, excuse me, what? 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not 4 months, 4 weeks. I said, 4 weeks? She's like, yeah, 4 weeks. They might even come sooner, but we always tell our clients 4 weeks. I was like, wait a minute. What? I should have been done this. Like, I should have just given up on the whole situation in Haiti and just like came here a long time ago and just started the process. Because I was thinking like, it's not like I paid racks. Like I was about to lose racks. I'm like, it's $300. Like, not saying $300 isn't anything, but my main focus was on the time. I'm like, I don't know how long it's going to take, and I've already started, and what if I'm waiting a long time? Meanwhile, I could have just Googled it, and once I saw that the standard was like 2 to 4 weeks, I would have called the dentist office up and like, hey, I'm thinking of getting some, clear aligners. How long does it take? Once you put the order in, how long does it take? So that's what I should have done, but I didn't. So whatever, but I have them now, so it's cool. So at the dentist, they told me they're gonna send everything to my insurance and then they'll let me know what they say, but it was gonna take a few weeks. I have a US number through text now, and so people from the States are able to call me. As long as I have Wi-Fi or my data's on, I will receive the call or a voicemail, whatever. So I noticed a few weeks went by and I hadn't heard anything from them. And so I called them like, hey, what's going on? I came into your office and you said you're going to submit a claim or something to my insurance and I haven't heard anything back. And that's when they realized that there was a code that they were supposed to send and they did not send the code. And so they had to redo it all over again. So I had to wait a few more weeks. So finally everything is sorted out and they told me it's going to cost $5,400 and my insurance was only going to cover $207. And so I was left to pay $5,193. And then my monthly payments would be $174.75. They left off the part about my first payment being $999. Nobody told me that. I was hoping that I could get everything sorted out online, make the payment, whatever, sign what I need to sign, because I sign documents all the time, you know, virtually. So I was hoping that I could do all that, you know, from Haiti, so that by the time I go to the States, the aligners would already be in and I could start the process. Because I already knew I was not about to go to the States. I already knew. I had something to do in the States in September. So I was like, okay, I'm going to plan everything at the same time. But, you know, I couldn't do it online. I had to go there. So I had to wait all the way until September for that initial appointment. I look at the contract and, you know, I see the breakdown. I see the, you know, $5,400. I see the insurance paying $207. I see that I'm left with $5,193. And then I see first payment $999. I was like, why didn't she tell me that over the phone? She told me I was doing monthly payments of $174.75. And I was like, okay, like $999 is $1 away from $1,000. That's not $9.99. Like, you kind of have to tell people that ahead of time. I paid the $999 and then we set up like, you know, auto payments for every month for $174.75 to come out of my account. And then, yeah, also the good news is that I have a new insurance. So that was my insurance last year that only covered $207. But if you get a new insurance, you can resubmit it with your new insurance. I could see the claim through my insurance's portal and it looks like they're going to pay half. But the dentist says that they haven't received the response yet. And so it's once they receive the response, and I'll get like an updated contract and my payments will change. So yeah, I think I'm going to end up paying far less. Okay, because initially it's just $207 that was taken off, but I think I'm going to be paying far less. So that's really good news. So yeah, at the appointment, signed the contract, all that stuff, made the payment, did the auto payment, and then they took some additional scans and they're like, okay, we're putting the order in. They should be here in 4 weeks. They called me within 3 weeks. They were like, ma'am, your aligners are here. They're in. Come to the office. And I was like, oh, that's great news. Okay, I will call you to make my appointment, because I already knew I wasn't going to go back right away. Like, I wasn't going to go 3 weeks. I was not about to go back right away. And so I didn't end up going back until the first week of November. Okay, because as I told y'all, I planned my trips. I planned everything out. I kind of had to group things together. And so I ended up going the first week of November. But y'all, my aligner trays came in 3 weeks. Okay, 3 weeks. Didn't even take the 4 weeks that they predicted. It took 3 weeks. That was so fast. I was so happy to finally be starting on my journey. But the drama, unfortunately, doesn't stop there. Okay, so I get to my appointment. It's the first Monday of November. Okay, November 4th. I feel like some of y'all are going to already see where I'm going with this. So my appointment was November 4th. And once I get to my appointment, they're like, oh, we're only going to give you 2 trays today. I was like, what? Because, with the aligners, you get a lot of trays and you don't have to come back for months. They're like, no, you're going to only start off with 2 trays. So you wear each tray for 2 weeks. So that's 4 weeks. And you have to come back here in exactly 4 weeks because they had to put attachments on my teeth. And then for the bottom row, she also shaved in between the bottom row, but just very little. It's very subtle. You could barely see it, but they had to put the attachments. So I have 3 attachments on the top, 3 on the bottom. Same with this side. So I have 12 attachments on my teeth in total. And that's what I was going to do at my next appointment. But at that appointment, they're like, we're only giving you 2 trays. You put the aligners right in. There's no attachments, nothing like that. And before leaving, I had to book my appointment for exactly 4 weeks. Because I already had all the delays and, I've already started the process, I was going to be on schedule. So whenever I needed to go back, I was going to go back. I wasn't waiting. I wasn't waiting until I had something else to do in the States. No. If I need to come back in 4 weeks, then I'm going back in 4 weeks because I, officially started the process. And so before leaving, I booked my appointment for exactly 4 weeks later. I get back to the hotel and I book my flight. I make my hotel arrangements. I planned everything out that same day. Do you know that exactly 1 week later, on November 11th, all U.S. flights to and from Haiti were canceled?